Hi, Meg. You're online. Fantastic. Hi, Meg. You're online. Fantastic. I have a strange delay. I'm doing my live stream, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning. So I've recently woken up, not just woken up, but recently, and I'm doing my live stream with on my phone here, and then over here I have my laptop so that I can see the chat. So I don't have to squint at the phone so much. But for some reason, there's a 3-minute delay between what I'm doing and what comes up on the computer. So I guess there must be a 3 to 5 second, not minute, second delay between what I'm saying and what you hear. Good morning, Saskia. So I just have to kind of ignore that, because I can see both. I can hear myself and I can see myself 5 seconds ago. Let's do a spread for the live stream. Please give us a spread for the live stream. So that we know what to look out for today. A spread for the live stream. Okay, me, you, the live stream. Okay. Strange cards, ladies and gentlemen. It feels like it's a strange atmosphere. I have a reversed Ace of Swords. You guys watching have a Five of Pentacles. And the live stream itself has a Three of Swords. Okay, so it sounds to me like there is some sort of dialogue between me and someone out there watching, which might be difficult but necessary. Okay, that's all I'll say for now. And okay, I've pulled a private card for myself for my little extra bit of advice for this live stream. Okay, but that's just for me, okay? So Meg, that's really great that you're tuning in. It must be a funny time of day for you. Because you're in America, aren't you? Now, if anybody would like a reading, I'm here. And I usually take bookings for 3 readings. There's the number 1, which is sort of 7:15-ish GMT. There's number 2, which is 7:30-ish GMT. There's number 3, which is 7:45-ish GMT. So if anyone wants a reading, just let me know, and I've got a little list here for you. So what's everyone's news? I got told off in the comments. I think it was yesterday, because about at least a year ago, I think it was a year ago, I did a review of Rachel Pollack's 78 Degrees of Wisdom, which I know is a very successful and popular and much loved book. But it's not a book that I like personally. And I think, so I reviewed it frankly, and I sort of complained about it, and I said exactly why I didn't like it and why I don't think it's a particularly good book. And obviously you step on people's toes when you give reviews, as I presumably did in this case. And people have commented. It's quite a well-viewed video of mine, and people have commented quite a lot on it. But also apart from the Rachel Pollack fans who have commented, there have been people commenting that they found the book difficult and complicated, and it seemed self-contradictory, and in some cases the book had put people off tarot. So I sort of wanted to give voice to the other side, to the other side of the argument, that not everyone thinks it's a great book. And part of the reason why, the nice thing about having a channel is that, I have things that I do here. I do book reviews, and in order to do book reviews, I have to read books, and that keeps me reading, and it keeps me growing as a tarot reader. And as I read and review books, I become clearer and clearer about what I believe about tarot. So I become clearer. I'm intuitive and I do what I do anyway, but I think part of the interesting thing in life is to become conscious of what you're doing intuitively, and maybe to be able to talk about it or write about it. And as I sometimes say, I am writing a book about it. And so when I read books and respond to books, and I'm more favorable to some and I'm unfavorable to others, it's not really because I like throwing shade or I like attacking other writers or anything like that. It's because I'm trying to sort out my ideas about what I believe tarot is, and this is the way that I can help people to learn tarot and to have fun with it, and to use it to give us a better life. And so one of the themes that's come up in the past year or two with me reading and reviewing books is that I am in favor of tarot being relatively simple and decomplicated and decluttered. So that's why 78 Degrees of Wisdom is one of the books on my naughty list, you could say. Oh, thank you, Saskia. Well, brave. I'm not sure if it's that brave. I think there's two ways you can go about YouTube. You can want to be loved by everybody. And so then if you want to be loved by everybody, you find you can't take any kind of risks, and you can't really say that you don't like things, because, every time you express some kind of individual opinion, which isn't just sort of sweetness and light, then there's going to be someone who's going to be cross about it somewhere. And there might even be someone who knows more about the subject. It's a big world, isn't it? And so there might be someone who will write in and say, no, you're wrong, you're superficial, you haven't done your research, and blah, blah, blah. But the other way of doing YouTube is to kind of accept that that nobody's perfect, and that YouTube is a forum for exchanging ideas, and exchanging ideas is very, very important. So actually, I will admit it, when I started this channel, I noticed that in the tarot world, people tend to go for the warm and cuddly approach, and it does tend to be very, very sweetness and light, and there are tarot reviewers. I'm not going to sort of start talking about reviewers. I watch other tarot reviewers, and tarot reviewers, they're very nice, and I think they're good. There are people who are out there who are very good and know a lot about tarot, and who are very useful, and who I watch. But I have noticed that sometimes they're talking about a deck, and you can tell they don't like the deck, but you can also tell that they're not going to say it. They're not going to say, I don't like this. Sometimes they say, oh, I have a problem with this deck, but it's just my fault, you know. Saskia, if you're reviewing a book, what's the point in not being honest? Yeah, that's exactly it. Because it is the job of the reviewer to help people to get some idea of what they might like and what they might not like about a book and what the problems about a book might be. For example, I've talked about Aleister Crowley on this channel. Now, Aleister Crowley is a very complicated person, a complicated sort of cultural influence. There are people out there, I guess, who have spent years and years and years reading about Aleister Crowley and thinking about Aleister Crowley and using the Thoth and reading the Book of Thoth and all that stuff, more than I have. But I have read a couple of biographies of Crowley, and I am grinding my way through the Book of Thoth. And, you know, I admire Crowley as a figure. I'm not attracted to that kind of worldview or that way of doing magic and tarot and so forth. Why is my picture so crap? How did that happen? How did that happen? So yeah, I mean, I've been told off by Crowley experts. That's a bit better, isn't it? Can't have a crappy picture. I was really told off by a Crowley expert, and so I did some more research, and I came back to it about a year later, and I thought, no, I still think Book of Thoth is more or less unreadable. So just to continue my rant while everyone's joining us, I find 78 Degrees of Wisdom too complicated, and I don't think it makes sense. And that's also how I feel about, for example, Jodorowsky's The Way of Tarot. It's also highly complicated, and I don't think it adds up. And T. Susan Chang's 36 Secrets, I think, is going down the same sort of path. There are writers who make tarot more difficult, and there are writers who make tarot easier. And I believe in the second path. So a few people are here. Who's here, and where are you all? So Meg, you're in America. Saskia, are you in Greece? I'm very, very impressed that anyone's joined us. It's so early in the morning here in Europe, very early in the morning in the UK, I imagine, and Portugal and places like that. It's 10 past 8 in Germany. Actually, when I did one of these, yes, Greece, oh, brilliant. I did one of these, this is the third early morning one I've done of these things, and I've noticed that they do get views, especially the video version. After I finish the live stream and it comes out as a video, it does get a lot of clicks, and that must be something to do with the time of day. Meg says, to me, Thoth seems like Aleister Crowley's personal and somewhat twisty obsession. Fine for him. I've always been a bit surprised that it caught on. It is. It is very obsessive, isn't it? I mean, I think Crowley was a bit like Oscar Wilde in some ways, that he was a relentless self-publicist. He was very ambitious, and he started his life with quite a lot of money, and he went through all his money and ended up with not very much. But he published his own books and used his wealth to make himself visible. He was very energetic as well. So I think he just made himself impossible to ignore, and it wasn't always a good thing for him, was it? Because it kind of blew up in his face in the end. Elle Phillips is here. Hello, good morning. Thanks for joining. I'm wondering, is there anyone online this morning from Australia or New Zealand? because in a way, it's because of, it's for the benefit of Down Under that I get up early to do these ones. But also, maybe if there's anyone in India, for example, who'd like to watch. I know people in India speak very good English. And before I started doing my own live streams on YouTube, about I think 2 or 3 years ago, I used to do live streams on Facebook via a Facebook page, which wasn't my page, but I was a member of the page, and it was a tarot sharing Facebook page. And I went through that page and went live on that page, and the audience that one got was just enormous, and it was a lot of people tuning in, a lot of people from India, I think, tuning in and asking for readings. It was a bit too much, actually. I couldn't quite handle it. I would have long queues of people asking me to read their tarot, and then people would get left out and people would get cross with me. And so I couldn't handle it in the end. But if anyone wants a reading, just say, and there'll be 3 readings in the course of our hour today. It's election day in Germany today. And my partner and I managed to vote on Friday. That they've got a thing in Germany where you can vote in the week before election day. They have a sort of a quasi postal vote system. So you go into the town hall and you come in with your papers and your documents and your ID and stuff, and you basically say, I want to vote by post. And so they give you a postal voting form, and then you post it there in that room into a little letterbox. So it's a sort of extension of the postal voting system. But I think there's a certain amount of tension in the air at the moment in Germany. But maybe we don't want to focus too much on that, because politics is, it's you can't avoid it, can you? It's like the weather, but it's an outward manifestation of the inner life. And I think maybe with tarot we should be concentrating on the inner life. People are joining. Hi everyone, who's here? If you feel comfortable, say hi and tell me where you are in the world, because that's very interesting to me, so that I know which kind of live streams are good for which people. And I will show you what I have at my disposal. I have here a tinned version of the Aquarian. Here, that's slightly smaller than full tarot size, but a very nice size, sort of bridge size. Oops. And I have a tinned version. Just a second. I have a tinned version of the Rider-Waite-Smith Centennial. A very nice tarot with a slightly toned down colours. And as you might have seen, I have the sensational Thoth. Not Thoth. Ator. Wake up, Robert. From Robin Ator. A great light tarot. Where everything has been reduced to slightly sketchy, cartoony characters. I think everyone needs a light tarot in their repertoire. I'll make you have the Ator. Good. It's great, isn't it? Do you have the first edition or the second edition? This is the first edition. And I missed my chance. I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it and thought, do I really want such a sketchy tarot? Then it went out of print. And then the artist released it on, re-released it, second edition, on one of those, good first edition. Well, the artist then did a second edition on one of these print order firms. I think it was Make Playing Cards. And I've got it, I've still got it, but I don't like it. And the problem was that the actual tarot is designed for this slightly short, fat format. It's not long and elegant. This is, tarot cards are usually that shape, aren't they? A bit longer than playing cards, and the Ator is a bit sort of fatter. And Make Playing Cards just have certain shapes that they can use, and the shape that they printed the Ator tarot on, with the artist's approval, presumably, was longer and thinner, and so the artist had to reconfigure all the graphic design and stuff. And I bought it from this firm because on the artist's page on Make Playing Cards, I think it was Make Playing Cards, he had pictures of the first edition. He's changed them now, and I paid my money and I got a copy of the second edition, which is completely different, really. And so I kind of complained and got my money back, and everything's fine now. And then, about a week later, I saw a copy of the first edition on eBay, and I managed to get it, and it was not too expensive, actually. So I was very pleased about that. I think it's really important to have a light tarot. I mean, this is the opposite of Aleister Crowley, isn't it? It's a tarot which sort of implies that you don't have to take every moment of life seriously, and I think that's really important. Anyone else from any other part of the world? I'm in Germany. I'm in Berlin on election day. Or if you've joined and you're online, as I said, I do offer 3 readings in each of my live streams. A first, a second, a third. I've got no bookings yet. Also, I'm here to answer any questions you might have. They can be questions about tarot, or questions about life in general, or questions about me, if I want to answer them. L. Phillips says, I'd like a general reading, please, for March. Okay. General. L. Phillips, that's always... the more general the request, the more I have to take a little moment of thought before diving in. But I think I would do... Okay, El Phillips, it seems that the live stream is relatively uncrowded today, and it seems that there are not many people booking readings. So why don't we take our time over this? And if you've tuned in and you're watching, this can be just something that I'll do for El Phillips, and it'll be also kind of like a demonstration of a way of reading tarot. Stay there, everyone. I'm going to just nip around and get a major arcana. Okay. Oh, Meg, did you see my intro reading? Did you catch that? It was a bit dramatic. I got the reversed Ace of Swords, And the audience got the Five of Pentacles, a bit of a hardship card. And my Ace of Swords sounds like mental fog, quite frankly. So I'm praying to the gods of tarot that I won't have too much mental fog from getting up early. And the live stream itself had a Three of Swords, and I'm kind of, in a sense, on the lookout in case there is a difficult conversation that comes up between me and someone who tunes in. It may just be that it's a strange atmosphere today because it's election day in Germany. But okay, let's use my self-generating spread. I'd like to do 2 or 3 cards for L. Phillips here. Is it 2 or 3? It's 3. Okay. We're going to have 3 questions. And 3 answers. So, I'll just pull the 3 questions out of the Major Arcana. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So the 3 questions are Temperance, and Meg wants one later. Okay, Meg. I think we're just going to do 2 in this live stream because it's already 8:25. These are 3 questions for L. Phillips. We've got Temperance, Empress, and Sun. So we don't have to be particularly deep about this. We just have to, or I just have to decide what the questions are based on these 3 cards. I'm going to be very literal here. What do you need to be, L. Phillips, is it Laura, by the way? What do you need to be temperate about in the month ahead? Empress, where is growth? It's Laura, I thought so. Empress, where is growth in the month ahead? And Sun, I think, where is your reward in the month ahead? Okay, and I think that's quite a good selection of questions. So now I will take another pack, and I'm going to shuffle it, and I'll cut it into 3. And then, Laura, when you're ready, in fact, when I've cut, in a few seconds, could you just tell me left, right, or center pack? Okay, please give us a reading for Laura for the month ahead. Okay. There's no hurry. Let's focus. Center, okay. So we have the 3 answers to the 3 questions. 2, 3, okay. I've got 2 reversed and 1 upright, so I'm going to reverse the reading. Okay. And I'm going to just open my mouth and talk because I think this is how tarot works best for me. The answer to temperance was the emperor. The answer to the empress was the Knight of Cups reversed. And the answer to the sun was the sun, which is what's another quite provocative thing about this method of reading, is that you can have one card can appear twice. So what do you need to be temperate about? Rules? Maybe strictness? Maybe the desire to impose order and push ahead. That's interesting. That is interesting. Because here we've got, where is your reward? I think we said for this, didn't we? And the reward is itself, in a sense. In the sun, the children play in the sunshine. And that does seem to me I always think of this of the sun as circumstances which make you feel sufficiently relaxed and maybe safe to be creative. It seems to me that needs to be, without pushing ahead too much, that needs to be something that you want to invite into your life, or even accept if it's already there, accept the ways in which you are safe enough and okay enough to take a deep breath and play and be creative and function well. So rather than striding out and kicking ass, it's more, oh, I do have these circumstances, if I look at them this way, which do allow me to function and play and be creative. Now that, I'm going to have to turn it round and look at it. That's very provocative, Laura, and I'm just going to say what I see, and you have to treat it as an oracular pronouncement, which may be I don't know, strange. It seems like this sounds like choosing not to take somebody's advice. Where is growth? Growth depends on choosing to not take someone's advice. I mean, people do advise, people have opinions, and doesn't mean it might be a very loving bit of advice, but not every bit of advice is right for you or is right for the circumstances. It could also be choosing not to be influenced by, or even choosing not to be in partnership or in collaboration with a certain person. And Knight of Cups is someone who arrives. Knight of Cups symbols arrival. Someone who arrives with an offer. So it may be that in this month an offer comes in, and it may be that it's worth examining it carefully and retaining your critical powers over that. So that may be someone who's not here yet. Okay. Take a deep breath. That was my reading for Laura. So it is after past, and that means, Meg, if you're online and if you can hear, I think we could do a reading for you right now. L. Philip says, that makes sense, I'm at a crossroads. Okay. Well, I think, Laura, I think that Emperor card and that Sun card, they were rather interesting because they're very different energies, aren't they? And sometimes you need the Emperor and sometimes you don't. And sometimes you need the Sun and sometimes you don't. But I'm going to close the oracular moment for Laura. Take a deep breath. I'm just going to see what Saskia said. Saskia said, if you pull a card, just a second, Meg. If you pull a card for yourself that makes no sense at all, do you try to make sense of it or pull another card? Well, Saskia, I pull another card. I do both. I have this thing of illuminating cards. So if a card makes no sense, I start from the position that, this may be a metaphor or it may be the literal truth, but the metaphor I use is that there are, let's call them spirit guides. Let's just dive in and use the most woo-woo vocabulary we want to use, because it doesn't matter which vocabulary we use. Say that there are spirit guides who want to help and who can see things from a different perspective and who can maybe understand the energies in different ways from us, maybe better than us. Or maybe it's a part of ourselves which is the spirit guides. Anyway, you want to listen to this wisdom. And I start from the premise that every tarot reading that goes down on the table is a helpful message from the other dimensions. And the more you accept that everyone is a helpful message, there's always help there, the better it gets. And this is why I disagree with Rachel Pollack, who seems to think that, who says in her book that, we are dealing with our own ignorance all the time. So occasionally it really doesn't make sense. That's true. And if it doesn't make sense, pull a card and say, this is an illuminating card. I now ask for a card to illuminate that card. And and if you still need another one, pull another one. I tend to think if you start with one card, you can pull and maybe up to 2 illuminating cards. And then you're looking at 3 cards, and then you've got more of a chance of understanding what the message was in that card, I would say. And if you really, by that time, can't understand what's being said, I think maybe take a deep breath and say, well, I must be in a funny mood. The lines aren't very clear, but don't beat yourself up. Don't say, I can't read tarot. Don't say, I don't believe this. I don't believe in this thing anymore. Just accept that it's not clear, or leave it there for 12 or 24 hours and come back and look at it later, and just let things happen in your day that help you to understand that card. But I would say don't sweep it off the table and start again, because that way could be very confusing. I think if you really don't understand it, it's then put the tarot cards away, I would say, and wait for a day. Oh, Haneen is there. Hello. Welcome. Very nice to hear from you. Let us know where you are if you feel comfortable with that. Where in the world? So it's now time for me to do a reading for Meg. I'm just going to read what Meg says here. I'm going to look over here where it's a bit easier to read. My question is about whether this is the time to expand and find more clients for my jewelry business. Very nice jewelry it is, Meg. Or would it be better to continue my focus on clearing out and reorganizing house first? Expand and find more clients for my jewelry business, or would it be better to continue my focus on clearing out and reorganizing house first? Okay. So we've got two options. We've got two options, Meg. Expansion of the jewelry business or clearing out and reorganizing the house. Am I right? I will pull two cards for both options, okay? And then we'll see. Just check I haven't missed anything important. Then I will ignore the scroll and get down to Meg's reading. Okay. So we're not going to use the Major Arcana mini deck for this. We're just going to use the Rider-Waite-Smith. Okay, and on the left, I will have two cards for expanding the business and finding more clients, the jewelry business. And on the right, I will have two cards for clearing out and reorganizing the house. Okay, this is for Meg. And Meg, if you're listening, could you please just tell me whether you'd like me to choose the left, right, or center pile, okay? That means that you're involved in this reading. Okay. I'm going to cut. Left. Okay, Meg, here we go. Expanding the business. Clearing out the house. Okay. Well, the first thing is that it does, they're both important, aren't they? Oh, they're both important. But there is something that I have to say about this. That's expanding the business, and that's clearing out the house. Okay. Now, expanding the business, you've got Ace of Pentacles and the Eight of Batons. Clearing out the house, you've got reversed Five of Cups and you've got Temperance. Now, that, just in an old-fashioned gypsy fortune-telling style, that Ace of Pentacles is clearly a very auspicious card, especially when you're asking about your business. So in a sense, that is the choice that's indicated by this reading, is to do that. Having said that, let's put some nuance on it. That comes hand in hand with an Eight of Batons, and that is the card of swiftness, as you probably know. So those two cards taken together mean, well, yes, do that, and if you choose to do that, do it quickly, do it immediately, I would say, and just dive right in now. Okay. On the other hand, it's quite a balanced reading, because you can see that that clearing out the house is quite a nice option. You've got a reversed Five of Cups, which, according to how I read reversals, that for me seems to be a moving on from frankly, from to be very abstract about it, I would say negative emotions. In the Five of Cups, it's often sadness or grief or something like that. But I think, that's a nice image for it. You're clearing out the house. You're refreshing yourself, aren't you? And you're able to let go of any lingering bits and pieces of negativity that might be attached to an unclear house. And there you've got temperance, which is, temperance is always itself. You've got that feeling of balance, of functioning well, and being able to harmonize all the different parts of your life. So it does sound like both those things are important, but it does sound like there's something about making a move towards expanding your business, about prioritizing that. That seems quite clear from this reading, I would say. So, deep breath. That was my reading for Meg. I hope that's helpful. Nice cards. I haven't got my antidepressive cards today. They're in the other part of the flat. Can't get them. Someone's asleep. Oh, I'm glad it was useful, Meg. And I just want to say again to anyone tuning in that Meg makes wonderful jewelry. So, maybe Meg, there might be clients actually listening right now who are going to ask you about your jewelry. Yunartha Bossamy. Hi, Robert. I'm watching from Seattle, USA. Well, that's nice. Welcome. I don't recognize your name. But I do know that it's probably like late night, Saturday night in Seattle, USA, isn't it? So thanks for staying up. It's already Sunday morning here in Germany, and we're waking up, rubbing the sleep from our eyes. Meg, you're welcome. Yeah, on both counts. And Linda de Gonzalez is in Canada. Vancouver. I've never been to Canada. Portland. I have been to Portland, Oregon. I had a friend in Portland, Oregon, and it was in the old days, before the days of social media, and we've lost touch. We have lost touch. I can't find him. Lost friend. But I went to visit in Portland, and we went walking in the virgin forests. It was amazing. Kate says Sunday evening here in Australia. Hooray! I'm so glad to hear from someone in Australia, because it is for the sake of you Australians that I'm up early. Oh, Yunartha Bossamy, you want a reading. Is it a reading or it's a question? Let me see. And by the way, there's room for one more tarot reading in this session. How best to, if anyone wants it, just say. Okay, Yunartha says, how best not to get locked into a particular meaning for a card. I find sometimes can't see past what associations I've already made with a certain card, and it slows down my reading. Two things occur. And Kate, yes, you can be the third one. But Kate, you want a quick read? Yes, you can have one. Just tell me if it's general or if it's particular. And if it's particular, please narrow it down a bit. I would say it's worth reading, Uh, I don't think one has to read in the spirit of kind of like you're learning a language, or like you're trying to remember all the different tarot meanings that people have in books, because you don't want to be flooded um, by ideas about what cards mean. But I think if you're interested, for example, I'm interested in the history of tarot, and I like to find out about some of the very old meanings that aren't talked about very much. And you might read a book, and you might get to the end of the book, and you have one more bit of nuance about one more card, and I think it just keeps you interested. Ronald Decker has a book about the mystical origins of the tarot. Paul Hewson has a book about the mystical origins of the tarot. I mean, a relaxed reading around tarot, without getting too worried about it. And then you also see something else. I find sometimes I can't see past what associations I've already made with a certain card, and it slows down my reading. I think that tarot is a very sort of subconscious thing, and if your brain is hanging on to a meaning, it may be because your brain needs you to use that meaning. I mean, I think I see tarot as this, and this is again purely in a sense a metaphor. I see tarot as a kind of like a contract that you have with your family of spirit guides. And that's why everyone can have different meanings for tarot cards. And we do all have different meanings for tarot cards. We collect meanings that we like. And if you're hanging on to a meaning, it might be a meaning which works for you at this stage of your life. Having said that, I would say try to have 2 or 3 shades of meaning for each card in the deck. Yes, try. And if there's any particular area of the deck that's worrying you, then do some research. Like the court cards, I think are very difficult, can be very difficult, and just see if you can find anything to read about the court cards. Question. Return to maiden name question. So, Kate, am I right in thinking you're wondering whether to return to your maiden name? Okay. Let me just quickly go down the scroll, Kate, and could you just confirm that that is what the reading is about? Shall I return to my maiden name? Okay. And let me just have a look at the other messages. Do you connect the tarot to astrological deacons? Haneen, yes, to some extent. But there's a lady called T. Susan Chang who has written a book about this. It's called 36 Secrets. And I don't think that you should get too, I don't think that's a terribly, terribly helpful book. And I don't think that one should get too hung up on the connection between tarot and the deacons. The connection is there. If you're using Rider-Waite-Smith, then those deacon meanings are to some extent, they are present in the pictures. And so any writers or tarotists who give you meanings for Rider-Waite-Smith, they are to some extent going to be connecting to astrological deacons. I think that clearly that the Golden Dawn were connecting to astrological deacons, but I don't think the connections are 100% consistent. And so I think you have to be a little bit loose about that stuff, I think, personally. You're welcome, Yunasa. That's interesting, Meg. Okay, so Kate, shall she return to her maiden name specifically and as an artist? Okay, and I'm going to just switch away from all those other comments while I look after Kate. Okay, it's 7:53 GMT. So let's. Kate, I'm going to do what the reading that I just did for Meg, which is the energy if you did and energy if you didn't. So on the left, you have this thought or desire to switch back to your maiden name as an artist, and the alternative is not to, okay? So let's have 2 cards for each. I will shuffle the cards, and Kate, when you're ready, just tell me which pile I should choose, left, center, or right. So this is Kate. Should she go back to her maiden name as an artist? Maiden name on the left, and stick with the name she has at the moment on the right. 2 cards on each side. And Kate's going to tell me left, middle, or right pile. Left. Okay. Maiden name, stick. Well, you know what, Kate? I see sort of success in either path. That's maiden name, and that's stick as you are. I mean, in a way, that is the more obvious auspicious side. You've got 6 of rods, haven't you? Which is one of the success cards. Reward, good news, victory. And you've got Hierophant, which sort of gets you into society, doesn't it? I think gets you sort of social advancement. But if you do go back to your maiden name, there's also this thing here, the productivity card. So it feels like you know, as an artist, you would be up and running. You know, you would be selling whatever it is you sell as an artist, and you would be busy. And you know, it's a 9. That's an auspicious number. The only thing about that is it looks like. Can I just say it? It looks like someone might not be into that idea. King of Cups, whoever that is, you probably know. I don't. But I mean, in the picture, it's a guy, isn't it? And so it looks like there might be a man who might. I'm gonna keep it quick. Who might not be into it. But I think in some ways, that's the side for stick as you are. I think that is more auspicious, actually. So that's what your friendly tarot reader says to you on this Sunday morning in Berlin. In this spread, is emphasis put on the pile chosen? No, not at all. The reason why I ask people to choose piles is so that it's a connection between us. Otherwise, I'm sitting here doing my thing. If you out there, whether you're in Australia or Greece or America, if you say left, right, center, if you make a choice, then you are involved in the reading. You are partly responsible for which cards come up. So if I have time and I'm doing online, you know, remote readings, I tend to ask the querent to pick a pile or to give me a number between 1 and 10, just so that they're involved in the shuffling, you know. Okay, Kate, that was Kate's reading. We're going to take a deep breath and we're going to let it go. And I'm going to check the scroll, see if I've missed anything. Low battery. Oh dear. Bad news, isn't it? If I disappear, it's because I've run out of juice. So Meg has a different meaning for the Nine of Swords. I think that's really good. I had wrong meanings for the Nine of, in some of the nines, in fact. I think it was Nine of Cups and Nine of Pentacles. For many years, I had wrong meanings, but I was fine. I could read tarot. It doesn't really matter. It's a contract between you and your spirit guides. As long as you're consistent in your own mind, that's what matters. The courts in the Thoth are a bit confusing for me, Laura says. And Laura, that's why I don't use the Thoth. That's one of the main reasons why I don't use the Thoth. I think, frankly, they're a bit of a. I think they're needlessly confusing. It's a nice idea to have princesses, but it could have just been king, queen, knight, female knight. There were tarots in the 15th century that had female knights. Some of the first tarots had female knights. They had ladies on horses, and that would have been much better. Hanine says, thanks for the perspective. Linda says, pretty good distillation of Nine of Swords. Get out of anxiety, getting your thoughts in order. Yeah, Nine of Swords, I agree. On Nine of Swords RWS, you have the bedspread. You've got the anxiety, but the person's in bed, and on the bed you see roses and astrological glyphs. So I think there is always information coming through. There's love and information coming through from the universe in Nine of Swords. Always looking for new spreads. Elf Laura. Well, Laura, I have a playlist and I share my ideas about spreads on my playlist. Linda says, excellent. Yeah, Meg, yeah. I just put whichever pile is chosen, I put that pile on the top and then off I go. Peak Dam is here. Peak Dam Tarot. We're just finishing. Yes, we were doing 7 o'clock till 8 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, but lovely to see you. Good morning. Hanine says, court cards. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. You do. I do, yes, I do, Philip, or I do. And I get very excited about spreads. I think spreads are really important. So I get very excited about spreads. And if I discover a spread or if I invent a spread, I will usually make a quick little video on it, and it'll be in my spreads playlist. Okay, Kate. Well, I hope I was clear about which pile was which. It was you misunderstood left for staying. Okay. Thanks, Kate. Thanks. Let's see. And El Philip says, I'm going to watch it after this. Cool. Well, guys, thank you all for a lovely live stream. I'm afraid I have to go now. Back to Germany on a Sunday morning. Meg, thank you. I think I use my what's my problem spread all the time as well. And in a way, I can hardly claim to have invented that because it's almost a 1-card spread, isn't it? But it then becomes a 2-card spread, and then you can expand it if you want. But I think it's just logical tarot reading, really. Okay, everyone, thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Haneen A. Okay. Yes, watch the replay. These replays seem to do very well, the Sunday morning ones, and I'm pleased about that. Thanks, Laura. Thanks, Unatha, and thanks everyone for tuning in, even if it was a funny time of day for you. Bye, Pete Dam. Great name for a profile name, by the way, Pete Dam. I love it. Thanks, Meg. I'm going to have a cup of tea. See if I can wake up. Might go back to sleep. Bye, everyone. Bye. I'm going to wait till 5 past, then I'm going to pull the plug.